Namaste and welcome to Tridevi Chamunda Mandir in Denver, Colorado. I'm Yamajit, and I'm so glad you could join me this evening. This is our 12th installment of our series, Meditations of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. This is part 12, and our four meditations for tonight are going to focus on expansion. A couple of quick announcements. This coming Friday will be the 7th installment of our series on the 12 Kalis of the Krama lineage of Kashmir Shaivism. We'll be featuring a puja and satsang to the goddess Rudra Kali, also known as Bhadra Kali. This coming Monday night, that's the 28th, actually at midnight, the 28th, going into March 1st, I'm going to be at Shiva Sai Mandir here in Denver, and I'll be doing the midnight puja to Lord Yama, the god of the underworld, the upholder of Dharma, and really the personification of Lord Shiva's function as the destroyer and renewer. So I'll be doing that at midnight at Shiva Mandir. There's going to be a special Yoga Nidra meditation that's going to be given as a part of that. So I invite you to check the Shiva Mandir website, shivamandir.org, for more details on that. And because of that, we will not have a Tuesday puja and satsang on March 1st. Oh, and Deborah, namaste. Thank you for joining me this evening. So a couple of things coming up. The following Friday, I'm going to actually be starting a new series on modern variations of what is called Chod practice. It's actually a Tibetan Buddhist technique where you are paying attention to your own inner demons, and I'll be telling you more detail about that in this next week. So let's go ahead and start with our opening puja, and then we'll go right into our 4 meditations. So I invite you to make yourself comfortable. Begin by breathing deeply. Focusing on your breath. Separating yourself from your day-to-day concerns. And letting this time be for you. A time for exploration, a time for learning. And time for accessing that divine universal consciousness. And so I invite you to bring the palms of your hands together at your heart center. And as we often do, we'll begin our practice tonight by chanting the syllable Om 3 times. Inhale. Oh. Pavitra Pavitrova Sarvavastam Gatopiva Yashmare Pandarikaksham Sabhyavyanta Sushi Om Shuklam Bharanam Vishnum Zashivanam Shutovijam Prasnavaranam Dayat Sarvavignopasantaye Jai Ganesha. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshvara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Guru De Namah Jai Guru. Om Triambakam Yajamaye Sagandim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Vandanan Mitur Mukshyamamrita. Om Jayanti Mangalakali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Shama Shiva Datri Svasvada Namostute Jayatvam Devi Chamunde Jaya Bhutitaharani Jaya Sarvagate Devi Kalaratri Namostute Jai Ma Kali. Jai Bhairavi. Jai Bhairav. There we go. So I invite you to once again to sit comfortably with a straight back, closing your eyes and breathing deeply. And just take some time to focus on your breath and prepare for the first of our 4 meditations for this evening. Letting go of the concerns of the day, the things that have happened, the things that might need to happen. Just let those things go. Make any small adjustments that you might need to make at this time, whether you're sitting on the floor or sitting on a chair. Let relaxation increase with each in-breath. And let tensions drop away with each exhalation. Begin to notice the movements of your body as you breathe deeply. The movement of expansion as you inhale and the movement of contraction as you exhale. And begin to notice that as you exhale and inhale, there's a natural rocking back and forth that happens with that. Maybe a slight backward movement as you inhale, and a slight forward movement as you exhale. Or maybe it's even the other way around. But just let that natural rocking with the breath increase. So as you're breathing deeply, you're gently rocking or swaying back and forth with your breath. Just sit quietly and breathe. And allow yourself to gently sway. Just focus on that slow rocking back and forth motion. And just allow yourself to breathe and to sway. As if you're sitting in a boat. Or you're like a small child being rocked back and forth by your mother. Just be with your breathing. And just be with that naturally occurring movement. Let your thoughts just naturally drop away, and should a thought come up, just say to yourself, oh well. Just breathe it away and bring your awareness back to the natural swaying and the natural act of breathing. Just breathing and moving. No right or wrong way of doing this. Just gently rocking with the breath. Just let your mind merge into the calming flow of the gentle movement. And let yourself float into a state of divine, expanded consciousness. And then let your breath slowly return to normal. And find the movements of the rocking just becoming smaller and smaller. Bring yourself back to just the natural movements that come with inhalation and exhalation. And as your breath becomes more and more back to its normal state, just finding a place of stillness and silence. Just resting and checking in with yourself and just noticing the natural effects of this practice. And then when you feel ready, just slowly opening your eyes, just letting your gaze be gentle and relaxed. And just relaxing while I read verse 83 of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. And remember, this is Lord Shiva in the form of Lord Bhairava speaking to his Shakti, to Ma Bhairava, the Divine Mother. Dear one, when swaying as you might when in a moving vehicle, or when just sitting and swaying by yourself, just focus on the slow rocking motion of your body. In the peaceful state of mind that follows, you enter into the stream of divine consciousness. So that's verse 83. So this practice is both a very simple and yet an extremely effective practice, very powerful practice. There are many people who will tell you that they just can't meditate, but in this practice, they can very often find themselves almost immediately going into a wonderfully relaxed and peaceful state when they follow these really very simple instructions. So in this meditation, we just simply focus on the natural effects of movement, accompanying the breath, like the swaying motion of an old train car or the gentle rocking of a boat on a lake. Or you can think back to when your mother was gently rocking you when you were a small child in order to calm you. This gentle rocking is just has a natural soothing effect on the body and also a soothing effect on the mind. And as we consciously focus on this swaying motion, our mind begins to merge into the sensation and naturally becomes calm. And when we're in this peaceful state, we can begin to feel the presence of divine consciousness. That divine consciousness that lies both within and without. And the idea of the divine within and without is really going to be the theme of our next two meditations. So I invite you now to once again find that comfortable seated position, maybe roll the shoulders back to open the chest a bit more. Close your eyes and let's just resume deep meditative breath. Just let go of the previous experience. Just bring yourself back to the present moment. Let the breath naturally relax you and prepare you for our next experience. So with your eyes closed, I'm going to invite you to use your mind's eye, your imagination. And I invite you to remember an experience where you were looking at an open sky. It could be during the day or during the night. You could be looking at a clear blue sky or noticing the movement of clouds in the sky or just looking upwards at night at the stars. Again, no right, no wrong. Just bring yourself back to a time when you were focused upon the sky. Just visualize that sky in memory. Just looking out into that vast expansiveness. Just let your mind's eye gaze steadily at that vast expanse until you find your mind starting to merge with it. Just become one with the boundless space. And as you breathe, and as you look out upon that wide open sky, let your awareness touch infinity. And continue to breathe and continue to look out into that wide open sky as I read verse 84 from the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. With steady awareness, gaze continuously at the sky, the wide open sky. And there you will enter infinity at once. Just meditate upon the emptiness and its relationship to the infinite. Just let your mind's eye steadily gaze into this open space. It can be the daytime sky or the nighttime sky. And let your mind open into that void and become closer and closer to infinity. And just know that it's the clarity of our intention that turns the sky into a portal to infinite potential. And remember that anytime you look out at such a vast expansiveness of the sky, day or night, it can bring you to a place of stillness and silence, and it's accessible at any time. Either looking at the actual sky, maybe outside or through a window, or just closing your eyes at a time when you need to withdraw within and visualize that sky within your imagination. So continue to sit quietly and continue to breathe deeply. Continue to imagine that vast, clear sky of daytime or nighttime. But now, find that same sky, that same limitless infinity within your own head. Just draw your awareness from without to within the space within your own head. And just let yourself stay with that extraordinary feeling of boundlessness inside of you. Just rest in that spacious, thought-free experience of stillness and of silence. And in that stillness and silence, find that accompanying luminous state of divine consciousness. As you breathe, and as you focus on that expansive sky within, and that infinite potential within, listen while I read verse 85 of our Tantra. Contemplate a vast sky, which is the very form of the infinite, as if it were completely within your head. There, you will enter the luminous state. So just notice what it was like to shift from external awareness to internal awareness. How is one different from the other? And in what ways were they the same? Discovering the infinite spaciousness without, and finding that same expansive infinity within. As above, so below. As within, so without. So I invite you now to take a deep and clearing breath, letting go of the meditation for the time being. And just check in with yourself, and again, just notice the effects of the practice, really of both practices. And know that just like with our swaying meditation, These are meditations that you can access at any time. And I invite you, of meditations that we're trying this week, find one or two that really speak to you and try them out during the week. Experiment with them. Try them for about 4 or 5 minutes like we've been doing tonight, and then lengthen the time as it feels comfortable to do so. Just bring your awareness back to your body, the sensation of your body, seated where it is. Become aware of the sound of my voice again and your surroundings. And slowly open your eyes. So there are so many meditations within the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra that really focus on meditating on space. Like last week, space within a circle made by your arms. Or imagining the deep infinity of space, space beyond Earth, or the space within a wide open sky. And finding that divine consciousness, that sense of infinite potential, without at first, but then discovering it within as well. So take a moment and stretch, move around a little bit. Maybe adjust your position to get ready for one more meditation. So we're doing these as seated meditations this evening, but you could just as easily do them sitting on the floor, sitting on a chair, or also laying flat on your back in Shavasana on your yoga mat as well. So I invite you now to once again close your eyes. Make any final adjustments. Again, we roll the shoulders back to open the chest. Close your eyes again. Breathe deeply. Focus your awareness away from all the unnecessary things, from past, from future, from what's around you. Just let yourself disconnect from the previous experiences. Just breathe deeply. And bring yourself back into the present moment. Just focusing upon your breath. And first, just let yourself be aware of your own natural waking state. Just pay attention to how you are at this moment, and also what you're most aware of. Maybe some sounds surrounding you. Maybe how you're feeling physically at the moment. No right or wrong. Just paying attention to how you are at this very moment, at this very time. And now I invite you to try and recall a recent dream that you had. Just take a moment and begin to remember its details, what happened in that dream. The things that you remember from that dream that you had recently. Maybe a dream you just had last night. Was it a good dream? Kind of a neutral dream? Unpleasant dream? Just remember a dream. And now think of a time when you rested in a state of dreamless sleep. You just nodded off into nothingness. Maybe this is something you also experienced last night. But just bring your awareness into what it is like to be in a state of very restful and dreamless sleep. And now I invite you to contemplate the idea that these three states of waking, dreaming, and dreamless sleep are just different forms of the same consciousness. Just remember and think about all three of these experiences together. The waking state, the dreamless state, and the dreamless state. And as you begin to see this and remember these and compare them, rest again in the immensity and amazement of what you are experiencing at this moment. Contemplate that there's three states: waking, where there is limited type of knowledge that produces a sense of duality; dreaming, which is filled with impressions of the outer world; and deep sleep, which is filled with darkness. Know that they are just different forms of consciousness. And realizing this, you are filled with the splendor of the infinite. That was verse 86 of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. So I invite you now to take a deep and clearing breath, letting go of the meditation, letting your breath return to normal. Becoming aware once again of your surroundings, the sound of my voice, any other sounds in your particular space, the sensation of your body sitting where it is, maybe the feeling of the temperature of the air on your skin, the clothes on your body. Just bring yourself back. Take a moment. Check in with yourself. Just notice how you're feeling at the moment. Notice the effects of this and the other meditations. Begin to move a little bit. And then slowly open your eyes. So at the time that these meditations were written, roughly 1,000 years ago, the mind was commonly understood to have those three states of consciousness: waking, dreaming, and dreamless sleep. And we all move through these three states every 24 hours. So what this meditation demonstrated for us is that each of these states that we experience, as we experience them, we discover a completely different state of reality. The waking state is dominated by the intensity of our sense perceptions and our feeling of being a unique individual in the midst of a vast field of physical objects, other people, external events. Really a state of I versus that, a state of duality. In the dreaming state, our attention shifts away from the physical and establishes itself in the dream world, where our thoughts, images, and experiences and feelings can seem almost identical to material reality, similar to the reality of our waking state, but our dreams aren't real in the same way. Our dreams are made wholly of mental energy. And the same rules that govern waking reality don't necessarily apply to us in the dream world. So in dream sleep, we enter a state where we are no longer even the images of physical reality or our senses of ourselves as a separate individual. Here we experience only the vast So in dream sleep, there's still that feeling of physical reality. And then we shift to dreamless sleep, and we experience only the vast darkness of deep sleep dimension of our consciousness. So contemplating that all three states are just various forms of the same consciousness brings us into a state of witnessing, from which we can observe all three states. This is the awareness that is always present and existing in the background of our life experiences. And it's from this vantage point that we can then witness each dimension of our experience from a safe place of non-attachment. And when we return from this kind of meditation, we can gain a different perspective of our realities. So our most dual state, our regular waking state, the most non-dual state of deep sleep, and that dream state, which is really a state between the two. So thank you. Trinity, namaste, as well as Deborah. And thank you. Thank you both for joining me, and anybody else who's joining me now or maybe watching this broadcast, the recording of it later. I invite you to take a moment and bring the palms of your hands together at your heart center. I invite you to join me in our final benediction. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Happiness to all Earth's creatures. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you again for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful night. If you feel nice and relaxed from our meditations, try to take that feeling through this night into your day ahead. And I look forward to you joining me on Friday for our puja and satsang class for Ma Rudrakali, also known as Ma Bhadrakali. So until then, have a wonderful night.